How's it, everyone? And welcome back to episode 9 of the Valley of the Vibes podcast. I
How's it, everyone?
know, I know we've been away for quite some time. I think it's been like what 7, 8 months. I'm
Yeah,
not
it's
exactly
it's been
sure.
it's been quite a while there, Kevin.
It's been quite a while, yeah. Today I'm joined by my single co-host, Michael. Unfortunately, Daniel could not join us today. He's doing his own thing tonight, and he's doing, it's a bit rough. So he's on his own. He's doing his own thing, and so today is only Michael with me today. And
Yeah, hell
I'd
yeah,
like to
brother.
apologize. I'd like to apologize in advance if the audio quality sounds scuffed because I am on my phone right now. I don't have my regular headset.
Yeah, we've changed setups a little bit. Everyone's gone their separate ways, so to speak. We
Yeah,
out here living the uni life.
yeah,
Kevin decided to
exactly.
not bring his headset down because I don't know, he's a moron or something. But
It was a hard time.
but
So
so I'm gonna be doing the recordings for now. But I apologize if there are any glitches or uh, mistakes within the audio. I'll see
yeah,
if I can fix it in post as well.
yeah. So anyway, so yeah, I guess think the first things first, Michael. We have to try off an explanation of why we've been away for so long.
So
Um,
I'll
yeah. Do
I'll
you want
I'll
to go
get
ahead?
us going. I'll get us going.
Cool. Yeah, go
So
ahead.
obviously, last year there was the novel coronavirus. Just dominated the world, dominated the um, economy and everything. And we started at the beginning of lockdown here because we figured, well, we don't have much to do. Schools are kind of figuring out what they want to do with online learning, figuring out how it works, going on to Google Meet or should we do Zoom, etc., etc. So we were like,
Yeah.
while they figure out everything, let's just have fun, start a podcast, start doing like stuff we find even like moderately interesting.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
can't really go out because we couldn't really go out because of lockdown. So we figured let's just start a podcast, man. And then
Yeah.
when the teachers decided that, hey, we actually kind of figured out things now, then the workload resumed because we were in our final year of school, and we are like, oh boy,
Oh
that's a
boy,
that's
it's
a
rough.
lot of work.
So
So we landed up
yeah.
stopping because school was starting to get a tad stressful, and we wanted to focus for finals. But now we've returned. We're in the uni life, Uh,
Yeah. Um.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
cool. So
So
Kevin,
basically,
I'll let you start about uni you're going to, courses you're doing.
yeah.
What made us decide to start the podcast up again?
Yeah, so basically, like, dude, because last year got really rough, because essentially we had to squeeze what, like, a year's worth of matric. So for those who don't live in South Africa, matric is basically final year of high school. Um, we basically had to squeeze an entire year's worth of work and stuff into what was it, like
Yeah,
six
it's
months or
probably
something.
like slightly less. It was like 4.5, 5.
Yeah, so it was hard,
As well
which
as
is
like all
why,
the exams that came along with it. We basically wrote for like 3 months straight, I think,
yeah,
or like
exactly.
2 months straight.
So that's why we kind of just like didn't do the podcast anymore. But we're in uni now, got a bit more free time. I decided to decide. Yeah, I kind of regret my decision, but
Kevin
here we
made
are.
mistakes. Let's just put it that way.
Yes, I decided to. I wanted to be an engineer, and what I didn't realize was that engineering basically means you have no life. Like you can't go out, you can't get drunk, you can't do things with your friends because you're just there learning stuff. And at some level, I don't mind it because it's really something I'm passionate about. But at the same time, boy, it's rough. Okay, but yeah. So university in South Africa started what, March, end of March, basically.
Yeah,
No,
just like
beginning of March
yeah,
we
no,
started.
it was just I think yeah, just about a month ago it started
Yeah,
properly.
basically. I'm in my fourth week of uni, so I can't really say much. I'm not a uni veteran. But there's a couple things I've noticed, and well, basically, some of the topics today that I'm going over through the list is basically how uni life has been, and we might just tangent off that. So, but yeah, so Michael's also in uni.
Yeah.
He's going to University of Pretoria, and I am currently in the University of Stellenbosch.
Kevin
But
out
yeah,
here exposing our locations.
yeah, no, we are out here exposing our locations. If you do want to come stalk us, go ahead. I'm always up for a bit of a jawl. In other words, a bit of a party.
Kevin might be up for a bit of stalking, but miss me with that.
Nah, it's not that bad. I'm sure our viewers are pretty chilled. Hopefully, maybe, perhaps.
I would hope so.
Look, Michael, we're not famous enough. Calm down. But anyway, so Michael, how has uni life in your specific course at your specific uni? How has it been actually?
So, I've been doing a music course at UP. I actually landed up starting university late because there were a lot of issues with my application.
Mm-hmm.
So they only landed up finding it quite a bit later, unfortunately, or like getting to it a bit later. So I actually only landed up getting to uni within the second half, like the second week, halfway through that week. Second or third week, I was in uni finally and doing work. What's nice about it so far is that I've covered pretty much everything we're doing within history, like music history and the theory and stuff. I covered all of it from like grade 10 to 12. So I
I'd
haven't.
just like to add, for those who don't know, Michael is studying music in uni. Did you say? I'm not exactly sure.
Oh, other way.
Okay.
There's no other way now. So, but
yeah,
yeah. So I thought I was gonna be catching up, like piles and piles and piles of work, but actually not too stressed at the moment. I'm just happy that I actually got into university, because last year was a bit rough in terms of academics for me, and I'm sure for quite a lot of people who had their senior year in 2020.
No, yeah, 100%. I actually think anyone who went through school during last year was just to not have a good time, man. It was just rough, bro. Yeah, it was not fun. But yeah, so at least you got in. At least you're doing what you love. I'm doing engineering. It's not too bad. It's just it's also a lot of work. We've basically had to catch up like 2 months worth of work in the first 4 weeks. So the pace of the work is definitely different. Oh wait, actually, I must add, for those who actually want to study engineering, right? If you're a listener who's in your final year of high school, looking to go to a university slash college, and you want to study engineering, there's a couple things I just want to quickly point out, right? So number one, don't expect to go out, because a lot of the time when you want to go out, you'd be surprised as how much work you actually have to do. It's kind of insane. The life I've basically led right now is I've basically woke up at 7 every day, worked until 3 a.m. in the morning, went to bed, woke up at 7 again, just worked. And I used to be the type of person in school who didn't actually work till very late. I worked maybe till like 9ish, and that was it. And it was enough. It was very much enough to get me going, get me past school, whatever. But yeah, no, uni hits different. It's a lot more work, wouldn't you say, Michael?
Well, I mean, for me, not really, because like I said, like I've done all the stuff
already. I mean, yeah, I guess.
Like, as far as I've understand from what you've told me, you've got some new ideas introduced, and the math side of your course is like really complex and hard.
Yeah.
But nothing at the moment is like really tough for me.
Oh, okay, well, that's not too bad.
I imagine what is gonna get hard is doing the music history and music tech like side of things.
Yeah.
But it's still in the beginning stages where they're still teaching us how everything works, getting us used to uni life. I'm in a really, really chilled course at the moment, so I'm not too phased.
Yeah. So that's like, obviously people will just have different university lives, I guess. But then, I mean, at the same time, like, one of the main things I've noticed is, so I decided to go out on my own and move to Stellenbosch, which is like 10 hours drive from where I used to live.
It's like
And
10 to 13 hours about, yeah.
10 to 13 hours, yeah, basically. So basically, I'm living alone, quote unquote. But I've got a roommate, you know, and it just so happens my roommate is Daniel, our co-host for the podcast. So you know, it's quite nice. At least I know my roommates and stuff. But sometimes, you know, I don't know if Michael can relate to this because if I'm not mistaken, you are still living at home with your parents,
Yeah, at the
right?
moment I
Yeah.
am, but I'm looking to maybe start staying in res because going from Joburg to Pretoria is quite the drive and quite the train ride too. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
um, in terms of like monetary costs and stuff, it's a little bit hectic. So I might actually look to move to Pretoria at some stage.
Yeah, so you know, obviously, sure, if some people live with their parents, and you know, there's no problem with that because at the end of the day, it's the most important thing is it's what works for you. And for me, I just wanted to get out of the house. I wanted to go strike out on my own, you know. And there's a couple things I've learned while living with a roommate. Number one, your interests don't always align. So, you know, there's that. But yeah, you just work around it, you know. Sometimes you know, actually I might be exposing here, Michael, but one of the biggest pet peeves I guess I have is the fact that Daniel is the type of person who doesn't really wash dishes until it stacks up. And I'm like, credit where credit's due. He does wash dishes, albeit he washes it like 2 days later, but he does definitely wash his dishes, right? And it's great. It's really great. He does have the responsibility and whatnot to wash the dishes. The problem is we only have one sink, and sometimes I get kind of frustrated because you know the dishes stack up, and I'm trying to wash my own thing, or I'm trying to wash vegetables, something that I want to like, cook, and it's just like it's very hard. But
I get
you
that.
know, it's sometimes you just gotta work around it. It's a lot
Yeah,
about living,
I mean,
working around
you
things.
can work around it, but at the same time, everyone has to do their part. Like
Exactly.
I'd find, or at least what I think, the system that works best is if you just, as you finish eating or doing whatever with a certain dish, just like wash it immediately and get ready to use it again. Or for
Yeah.
something
So
like
that's
glasses, you can use that like plenty times over and over again. But yeah, I don't know. It's
yeah.
just
That's
I
the
don't
plan.
live with Daniel, so I don't know
Yeah.
both sides of the
That's
story.
the idea I have. I'm the type of person who would, after I use a dish, after I use a pan, wash it, whatever. But you know, Daniel's not that type of person. He would rather leave it and wash it very like maybe a day later and wash like a shit ton of dishes, pack it away and whatever. So it is really about working around the dynamic of your roommate. You know, actually a bit of an advice for you, Michael, since you are planning to live in res. One of the biggest things I've noticed when it comes to having a roommate, and I don't have a problem with Daniel when it comes to this, but I have seen many people have a problem with this, is inviting people over, right? So, you know, like Daniel doesn't invite a lot of people over. I don't invite a lot of people over to our room specifically. So it's not much of a problem. We don't have a, it's one of the things that like both Daniel and I actually agree upon, which is really wonderful. But, you know, sometimes like I don't want to expose names, so I'm not going to say the names, but there are a couple people we've met down here, specifically one person who does invite a person over, and then that always causes a hassle for the other person, especially when, unlike our room, where you've got a wall between Daniel's room and my room, they live in basically the same room. There's two beds in the same room, bro.
You're just like,
So
yeah, I don't really mean to at this person, but at this person, yeah, can you stop fucking doing that, please? Yeah.
no, look, it's not my roommates, right? We don't even live close to each other, but that is a thing that if I was living with that person, I would not like. You know, it's but like at the end of the day, it is very much about working around your roommate, figuring out what works for both of you. And honestly, I think I have a very good dynamic with Daniel. We both know exactly what each other wants. We both understand. Okay, so Kevin doesn't like shoes in his room, and he also likes it if the dishes are washed. And Daniel, I know for a fact, doesn't mind if there's shoes in his room. He doesn't mind if there are dishes in the sink and whatever. So it's very much about working around each other, and I have
Yeah,
no problem with that.
like at the end of the day, I think it goes for whether you've known your roommate for, because you and Daniel have known each other forever. Like, you guys have known each
Yeah,
other throughout the whole of
exactly.
school. So whether you
Yeah,
guys have known each other for like 13, 14 years and been friends for like half of it, let's say. I don't know how long you two
yeah,
have been actual friends for, but just as an example. Uh, and whether you've met someone literally when you moved into Res, it's still like figuring out where the grounds stand between you two and figuring out what works and what doesn't work, stuff like that, you know. But once
exactly.
once you get that rhythm or that routine going, then everything works out quite nicely. But unfortunately, it doesn't really work out for everyone. I know a few people who have come out of res and been like, "Oh, I absolutely hated it."
Yeah, no,
So it just,
I
yeah,
agree.
and roommates can be the make or break of that experience, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, I do know someone who does live down here with us, and he absolutely does not like having a roommate. He would rather live by himself. And you do you. If you want to live by yourself, if you don't think you're gonna work with a roommate, then go live by yourself. It's like that's what works for you. We're not here to judge you. Honestly, next year I actually plan on living by myself because I want to give it a try. So it's just that's how it's going to be if you
Yeah,
want
it's
to
just
be
a
that
little
type
bit
of
of
person.
experimenting, you know.
Exactly.
Like I
And you got
said,
to
figuring
figure
out
out
what
what your
works.
niche is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, Michael, I was actually talking about this the other day with one of my friends, but we were so one of the big things about Stellenbosch is if you ever want to get property down here, you always want to buy rather than rent
Hmm.
because there's always a influx of students that will always be there, and there'll always be people who want to rent buildings which are close to the uni. So it's a good investment. And I
Fair.
was actually talking to Michael. I don't know if Michael recalls this conversation, but I was saying, would you rather live in a townhouse or would you rather live in an apartment?
See, okay, you need to understand the context behind the conversation.
Yeah, yeah,
Kevin made it very confusing for me. He was like, "Michael, would you rather live in an apartment or a townhouse?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, depends on what the differences are, Kev." So it's like, okay, so the the apartment, you live with a roommate. You've got your grounds right next to you where you can go out and party with a bunch of different oaks every night. You're 5-10 minutes away from your department that you need to go study at, and the cost is a little bit expensive but manageable while you still have two people. And then
yeah,
you have your townhouse, which it'll be yours. The travel distance is just about the same, 5 to 10 minutes, but the cost would belong all to me. And I was like, well, you see, Kevin, on one hand, you're living by yourself. And if you're the kind of person that likes living by themselves, cool, go for it. It's awesome living with a roommate first year, figuring out if you like it. But if you don't like it, move out. The roommate's too much of a pain in the ass, then ha, out of there, you know. But then I was like, yeah, but Kevin, like, what's the difference really? Unless because you haven't minded living with Daniel, and I don't know if you'd really like living alone. So really, what's the difference if there's no clear advantage for your studies? Really, if you're also going to get probably the same amount of noise because first year students are quite wild.
yeah. That I know from experience. First year students, not fun. There's party every night, bro.
It's
But
just,
yeah.
yeah, like a red foo season came back, like the party
Mm.
rocker guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but Kevin can explain his side of the story as to what he'd want to do because he did say that he was planning on living by himself next year. So
I personally,
personally, okay,
yeah.
you go first. I'll explain after.
Okay, okay. Personally, I would prefer to live in a townhouse because it's a property that's pretty big for the price you're getting because it's a townhouse. for those of you who don't live in South Africa and don't have quote unquote townhouses, I would assume it's basically the same as like a like a
It's like a very
bungalow,
secure.
like a
Jeez,
small,
it's
like
like a
imagine a
small
bungalow hall.
secured area, like a boomed
Yeah,
off area that's a bit smaller, and you
yeah, but you get what?
not
Like you
like
get a living
traditional.
room, you get a kitchen,
Yeah,
you get a toilet, you get what? Two rooms?
it's basically like an apartment, but you have most townhouses have like their own garden and stuff,
Yeah,
even
yeah.
some parking space too. It's like apartments that are split into smaller houses. It's like
Yes,
apartments that
yes.
are smaller houses.
It's basically a house. It's just
That's
tiny.
kind of an apartment.
Yes. But
Yeah.
basically I'd rather have that because it's a lot more space that you get. But then at the same time, you do get a bit of peace and quiet. And if you do want to invite your friends over, you've got a nice area where you can have a uh, braai being a barbecue for those who don't live in South Africa. You can have like a bit of a chillers. You can drink with your friends in your little like house without people looking over. Whereas, I think in an apartment, if you really had to do it, it'd either have to be in your room or like your at least like your dining area at least, but it's like either way, it's in your house, or you'd have to go to like a more public space to do that, which I personally don't really like. But I mean, that's just me. Michael, on the other hand, I'd let Michael explain, but he thinks maybe a bit differently to me.
It's not necessarily that I think differently to you. It's just I don't really see a difference. And it's like I said, it depends on what you make of the situation in terms of, do I like my roommate? Is it worth staying here? Am I getting enough study time, not enough time to myself? Am I getting disturbed too much? Stuff like that. If I'm not getting disturbed that much, I really like my roommates, I get on, I still have contact with my friends, then it's like, it's chilled. If the cost is just about the same to live in a townhouse than it is to live in a apartment or at a res, then I might as well just stay at the res. But
I mean,
at the
that's fair.
if I don't really like my roommates and I don't feel like I'm getting study time, and I think to myself, geez, man, I'd rather just be alone in my own like little townhouse, be able to do what I want, not really having any disturbances. You know, if I get
Hmm.
lucky one night, then no, I'm joking. um, but if I want to bring my friends over, then you know, I'm like, chill, it's chilled, guys. You can just like sleep on the couch, or whatever. If they're a bit too sloshed or whatever. But to me, it really doesn't make that much of a difference, and it's kind of just what you make of the situation and what your situation's sitting at.
Yeah, that's actually a fair point. Yeah, no, I agree.
But yeah,
But yeah. Um, but yeah, but I guess also it depends on like what sort of course you take and what sort of, because
mm,
personally as a engineering student, a course that generally demands more time and whatnot, it's you'd rather have that peace and quiet because the life of an engineering student isn't very easy. It's actually quite hard, right?
you know,
I mean, I've already mentioned I
speaking
stay up till 3 a.m. every day.
speaking of the life of an engineering student, I know you've detailed it a little bit, but maybe go into a bit more of what your course demands and what's really
Oh,
striking you like at your core as to why you want to move into like your own pretty much private res next year.
oh boy. Oh, there's so much to state. Well, I guess we'd have to start. Like, I guess first of all, engineering naturally is just a hard course to take
You're doing
because
civil engineering, right?
yes, but the way it works at Stellenbosch University is
You do
all the
like a
first
overall,
years.
and then you decide what
Yes,
you want to specialize in afterwards.
yeah. So
Yeah.
all the first years do everything the same. So if you're a mechanical engineer, a civil engineer, or electrical engineer, you're doing the exact same thing as everyone else in the first year, which basically means you do slightly more subjects than most other universities because of how that's set up. But engineering, it's one of those subjects where it's more about how logically can you think when you actually, it was actually a funny story I wanted to mention. On the very first day, that like welcoming week we had, the one very nice lecturer lady came up to us and said, "We're going to teach you problem solving." And I, at the time, I was like, how do you teach someone problem solving? And I realized very quickly how you teach someone problem solving, Michael.
Problem solving
basically,
in certain environments can be very hard, Kevin.
basically for engineering, for our specific course, they don't teach you theory or any like more like shit behind the thing. They just basically go, well, we're just going to take you through 2 examples, and then here are the exercises. Go figure it out yourself. Figure out how you do it by yourself.
Damn, that's kind of rough.
Which is very rough, and sometimes
But it's rough. But I suppose it teaches you independence.
yeah, exactly.
We had school to teach us a lot of independence because the teachers also kind of did that sometimes.
Yeah,
just,
but
yeah, there's the work we went through like 3 examples in the book. Just go through it, figure it out. I'm sure you can. And if you couldn't, then you're like, yo, sir, this is a bit rough here.
And then
like,
they come and help you and stuff. Yeah. But I mean, like, it's quite nice the way they do it, because at the end of the day, they don't want to teach how to pass uni. They want to actually teach you how to be an engineer, how to actually accomplish these problems.
That should be the goal of
uni. Yeah, and like you can definitely feel it, right?
Yeah.
But it's rough. It's actually very hard. Like I remember there's one thing. So there's a module we do called applied mathematics, which is basically
I've heard
physics.
So many things about applied maths and it being very, very rough.
But hear me out, right? The first 3 weeks I was struggling very hard because they literally just went through examples and they were like, work it out yourself. And I was like, okay, I guess. But I put a lot of time and effort into that subject because I struggled with it, and now I'm very confident with the subject. I know exactly what to do, and it's actually, now that I think about it, it's not that hard. It's just you've got to really put
until you get that test.
Well, until the test comes, then you
go, what happened to all that work that I put in over the past 3 weeks? That hard-earned blood, sweat, and tears, and it just claps you. Unlucky.
Yeah, no, tests are definitely difficult, especially because we're still in a bit of like an online hybrid.
Yeah, I know at Stellies you're doing like hybrid classes where some are face to face and some are
yeah, exactly,
online. It's not like that at Pretoria at the moment because there are some protests every now and again going on. I know like some students from Res got COVID from wherever. And
for those who don't know the context, in South Africa, quite often we get university protests called Fees Must Fall, where basically a bunch of students decide to go protest and say the fees are too expensive, we can't afford tertiary education, we want you to decrease the price of uni,
make it free,
or make it free.
Which it disrupts like the classes a lot.
It's not great.
Whether you agree with it or not,
really whether you agree with it or not, it's not great. It wastes time and energy and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's different ways of protesting and getting around that kind of stuff. But so sometimes there's protests at Pretoria, other times it's COVID cases that shut down the classes and we have to go back to online. That's why the other day I went on the car train, which I'm pretty sure everyone knows what the car train is. But for those who don't, it's like the metro train around Joburg, or around Gauteng rather.
Which is a province in Joburg.
Yeah, well, in Joburg.
Oh, fuck. Look, man, I don't do geography anymore, man. Leave me alone.
You did it for 5 years.
Leave me alone.
No excuses. But so it goes around Gauteng, which is in South Africa, Kevin.
It's basically the United States version of a state. Basically, that's what Gauteng is.
So my family and I decided to take the train the one day, and it's about 40-minute train ride and then 10 to 15 minutes of walking until I'd actually be at the places where I need to be for my course. That's not terrible. I just need to do some working out on whether the maths, not the maths, whether the pricing of the tickets to go like there and back with a student card and etc is worth it, or if it's worth to just drive. Because going on the car train, therefore I dodge all of the traffic.
But also at the same time, it's not exactly the safest thing you could do.
Yeah, it'll be fine if you land up traveling with people, which is what I'm going to try and do. But if you can't and you have to go in solo one day, then it's like, you'll pray you don't get mugged, dude.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah. Welcome to South Africa.
Pretoria is a bit safer than Joburg, so I don't think I have to stress too much. But
I actually want to
yeah,
like just point out Stellenbosch is like weirdly safe because so for those who don't live in Joburg or have never experienced the sort of life where you walk outside, let's say at like what 9 o'clock at night or even 10, you
bit of
walk
a weird time
outside.
to walk outside, but yeah,
The reason
yeah,
being
I get
weird
you
is
though.
because no one walks outside at that time because either one you're gonna get mugged or two you're gonna get shot.
I
That's
mean, it
that's
also
just
it depends on where in Joburg you are. Like, it's
no,
just
even in
the
Bedford. No, Michael, even in Bedford, you would get
no, like
shot.
literally, it just depends on where you walk.
I
You
guess.
just need to. I mean, people have actually been mugged right outside my house before, but
Yeah, people
so
literally have been
it's
mugged right outside my house as well, so it's not safe.
yeah, it's and you lived in a secure area too,
I lived in a very nice area, I must say, but
so
it's
yeah.
not safe.
Yeah,
But you know,
it's just the environment that we landed up like growing up in. So it's not
yeah,
something that's very usual. Like oh, just go walk to the store. I mean, yeah, sure, I live like a few minutes away from a big shopping center, but I'm not gonna go walk there by myself unless it's daytime.
you know the Woolies next to
Well, I really need
Benny's.
it.
You
Yeah,
know the Woolies next to school.
yeah.
I live maybe what like a 20-minute walk from there.
Mm.
But if it's not like even during the day, I don't have the balls to walk to Woolies
But at the same
because you
time,
will get mugged. You
I've
will get mugged.
I've thought about it before, right? Because
Yeah,
obviously I live a few minutes away from Bedford,
yeah.
at my house. You haven't been to my house before, have you?
I don't recall. No.
No, okay, I don't think you have. But anyway, I live a few minutes away from a KFC, and sometimes I've got enough money on my in my wallet, and I'm like, shit, dude, I really want some KFC chicken right now. I really want that double crunch burger, you know, the Zinger burger.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I think about it, I'm like, now I'm gonna go buy it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's gonna lose so much heat by the time I've walked back. And what's the chances that someone's like, you've got like this much chicken with you
Give
right
it to
here.
me.
Like, give it to me or I'm gonna stab you, dude.
Yeah,
And I'm just like, do I really wanna like walk all the way
yeah,
back with that chicken? It's like also the lazy part of me is kind of like, I'm gonna weigh my options here. Am I really gonna go
yeah.
buy this chicken and then walk all the way back? You know, with a Streetwise 5 in my hand and a crusher in the other, phones in the pocket.
Like you will actually get mugged because of that.
Yeah,
Like
I
either
mean,
your phone's
yeah.
gonna get taken or your food is gonna get
See,
taken.
that's it's either you go out, you eat somewhere, like at the restaurant. I could go and eat
Yeah,
at the KFC, or I just need to drive there with like a bike or something.
yeah.
And I do have a learners for a bike at the moment. I'm still working on getting my license because COVID's stuffed up the whole system with trying to get
Oh
things
man.
sorted. Uh,
Oh man.
but
Yeah.
eventually, when I have that stuff, then I can go like grocery shopping or like I want to pick up someone that's a friend of mine. Be like, oh wait, dude, just come have a quick meal with me or something. Then yeah, it's
Yeah.
fun. Like you feel fine in your car. That's actually another thing I've been worrying about is that if I
Mm-hmm.
drive to Pretoria, because I know it's happened to a few people I know,
Yeah.
where they've been sitting in the car and they've got their laptop like sitting on the other seat or
Oh,
something,
dude.
and then
Yeah.
someone that's just like on the side of the road decides
Just
that
smashes your
laptop's
window,
mine
grabs the
now, dude.
laptop.
Okay,
Yeah.
and you're just like, no, it's not. And it's like, yeah, well, you can't drive forward. There's a car in front of you. You can't drive backwards. There's a car behind you. And it's like, okay, well, I guess my laptop is yours then. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just, yeah,
So
that's also the problem
I.
with walking to UP is
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have because obviously I'm a music student and I play the bagpipes as my instrument. If I need to do something involving practical, um,
There's a
or
very
like
high
of a
chance your
practical
bike
matter
pass
there,
might get robbed.
I need to make the choice of whether I'm gonna go on the train and walk that 10, 15 minutes to get to the place with my bagpipes, with my laptop, with my whatever, with my phone and everything that I have with me, or
Mm-hmm.
am I gonna go drive there and make sure I have organized like um, a parking or I have parking organized for myself? Because in my mind, if I have to take an instrument as well as a bunch of other stuff that isn't just books, I kind of want to take my car because it seems a bit safer than walking.
Yeah. I'd
But
just like to point out
yeah,
that in Johannesburg specifically, right, you don't often see people actually walking to place. They're always driving because it's actually a lot safer to drive because obviously at the same time people can smash your windows and
well,
grab stuff,
saying that, and
but it is safer.
there's a lot of road rage in this country.
That is true.
I've
But it is
when,
safer
when
to an
I've been
extent.
driving with my parents around, like going on the highway or whatever, and getting used to clutch control and everything. Make sure you don't roll back too far on a really bad incline or something.
Yeah.
It can be stressful. I've had taxis behind me where I've rolled like less than 5 centimeters, and they just start hooting and hooting at me. But it's only because they're sitting right up my ass.
Yeah. Dude, I must actually say, when it got down to Stellenbosch, it's the most bizarre, especially for someone who lives in Joburg, it's the most bizarre thing that people, especially like when you're walking, actually follow traffic lights. That's such a bizarre, because in Joburg, right, it's more of like,
Wait,
I
is
know
there a
the
car
light is
coming from the
red.
left? Is there a car coming from the right? I'm just
Yeah,
gonna
no,
go.
it's like yes, I know that it's a red light for the cars that are going across, right? Like perpendicular to you. But like some people just don't give a shit and they'll literally drive through the red light. So
Yeah,
it's really about, is there a car on
taxis
my right?
are
Is there a car on my left?
so bad in this country because
No, it's really bad.
even though the driving instructor that I'm going through, even though like the car or even if there's packed traffic on the left or the right side and it's a green robot for me and I'm going straight, he's always like, check your left and right because even though you have right of way, you don't know if someone's going to come speeding. And
Exactly.
it's yeah,
And I
it's just a good thing to like to know. Your
yeah,
parents used to always tell you when you were walking like on the roads with them or you're walking back to the parking
yeah,
lot,
check
look,
left, check right.
check your left, check your right. You don't know if there's a car gonna come and hit you. Be
Yeah,
careful.
even if you do have right of way, check your left,
Exactly.
check your right.
It's like
And then
there's a
it's
pedestrian
just
walk.
incredible.
I have right of way that it's green for me. I can walk across the road. Check your left and right. There might be a car speeding towards
The
you. You don't want to die.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And also, there's the most bizarre thing: the highways, right? If you go to the fast, so just for context, if you live in Johannesburg, right? If you go to the fast lane of a highway, you're going at least what 160, 180 even. You're going fast. And even though the speed limit might be like 120, you are going 180 on the fast lane. Even in the slow lane is for
Mm.
actually 120,
Yeah, I
right?
found that when I've been driving with my parents, they're like, I'm like, I kind of want to go to the fast lane. And they're like, are you sure? People can get really really impatient with you. And then they also said to me, it's funny because people in the fast lane go slow and people in the slow lane go fast.
Yeah.
Because that
And
is what
then,
happens. But
but it's
it's
so weird, right, Michael?
if you follow the law, going 120. I've been going like you have your speed limits. It's like okay, I'm gonna go 60 kilometers per hour, and you get some guy behind you, beep beep beep, and it's like,
Yeah.
dude, I'm not gonna go faster. It's the speed limit, you know.
And then they just lose their they just
And then
lose
they
their
try
shit
to
and
like
try pass you.
overtake you, and then
Yeah.
it's like, well, I can't really go that much to the left on the roads because there's a curb right there.
Yeah.
But
That's
yeah, you
but I mean that's Joburg. But
yeah.
then in Stellies, and especially Cape Town even, like if you go on the highways, yes, these oaks on the fast lane they drive 120. On the slow lane they drive like 60. And it's just the weirdest thing in the world. Like they actually listen to speed limits, you know?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's like actually, I realized I checked the analytics, right? We have a couple foreign viewers, right? And by foreign viewers, I mean we have a couple German viewers who do listen to the podcast. And I just like to point out that in Germany, I'm not sure how it actually works, but I just like to point out that probably in Germany they listen to traffic laws and pedestrians have right of way. And you
Or
should be fucking thankful for that, okay?
best believe when I went overseas, even in Portugal, it's my dad was like, "Wait for the light, wait for the light," and I was like, "Okay, why? We don't really listen to it in South Africa. It's like you don't want to get caught
No, yeah, they actually,
because
it's actually like insane.
it's like laws are actually followed the way they're meant to be. It's
Yeah,
it's a bit of a if you want to think of it in a certain, it's a bit of like a bittersweet thing if you think about it, because as in a in a shitty sense, you get a bit more freedom to do what you want, as dangerous as that can be.
Hmm.
Like you, I don't know, you can do a bunch of shit in this country that you wouldn't be able to do in places like Germany or Switzerland. I can
Yeah.
play my bagpipes until I've played at 11 o'clock at night before, which I think Germans and Swiss people would have lost their shit with me. There would have been noise complaints and noise
They would have
complaints.
fucking stabbed you, bro.
Dude, they would have like gotten their commission guns from their mandatory military service and be like, "Yo, bro, listen, if you don't stop playing right now,
Oh,
I'm
fucking
going to blast you." But in South
Yeah.
Africa, um, maybe it's just because we have really nice neighbors, but my neighbors are super chilled, unless they just don't hear it. Because
I think
sometimes you get really stressed out for a practical, and you're
no,
like,
I don't think they
"Oh,
don't hear it, Michael. Like bagpipes are pretty
bagpipes are
fucking
pretty
loud,
loud."
mate.
But I've never heard a complaint from them. Is my point. But
I
you
mean,
get what
yeah,
I
I
mean.
guess.
Like when you want to
No,
play that
yeah,
late, you're
yeah.
like, "Oh, fuck, I'm like really stressed for this practical. I need to get a bit more time in. I need to get my stamina up. I need to make sure my fingers are working properly." And well, at least that stresses for me playing bagpipes when I feel like maybe I haven't put in as much practice a day or two before, and I'm like, man, I really need to catch up, but it's late because I've either procrastinated or maybe there's a bit of work that I missed that I didn't see. So, but I wouldn't be able to do that in a place like Germany, and I know that
Yeah.
for a fact because yeah.
Actually, Michael, speaking of bagpipes, I know you're a music student in University of Pretoria, right? Uh, do you see yourself playing the bagpipes for the rest of your life? Like, is that something you see yourself doing in like for your future, maybe?
Hell yes. The I don't know, I've always I like grew up with the instrument in a sense because
Yeah.
my brother Alex, we've had him as a guest before, or haven't we? I'm not sure if we've had
No, we
Alex.
haven't. But
Okay,
we need to get him as a guest. But yes, we
probably
haven't
at
had
some
him as
point.
a
He's
guest.
he's one of our German viewers. um,
Hey, Alex.
but he he started playing bagpipes when he was in grade 8, or for anyone else, his junior year when he just got into high school, and he was just like insane with the way he played, and I respect him a lot for like what he's accomplished, and I always looked up to him like very much as a piper, and I always wanted to get as good as him, but haven't achieved that yet. But that's besides the point. The point I'm trying to get at is that I've always enjoyed the instrument, and I picked up a lot from listening to him throughout like a lot of my childhood. So I feel like there's a lot of potential and a lot of ways I can go overseas because there's grade 1 bands overseas, and I do want to continue the instrument. And if I'm going to continue the instrument, that's what I want to aim for. I want to go overseas and play for those grade 1 bands, and like I'd
Do you
love to
get
be a top
paid for
player.
playing for those grade one bands?
I, I know. I'm sure there's like some form of prize money if you actually win, but I'm more looking for like the experience of actually going there. Like
I mean,
I've
fair enough.
I've said not here, but I've said to my family that the only reason I'd go overseas is to play with a grade 1 band. Because actually I do like living here unless it really goes to shit. Then obviously no one would like to live in a country that's gone to shit.
Yeah,
But
fair enough.
I've always really, really loved living in this country because of the people I've met, and most people are actually quite nice here, other than
They
people on the
are.
roads.
Yeah, no, we
People on
don't
the
talk
roads
about the
are
roads.
very impatient, but South Africans in
It's a
general,
different type of
yeah,
person when they're on the road. Eh?
yeah, it's hectic. But yeah, I've said to my family the only reason I'd want to go overseas is to play for a grade 1 band, and as long as I keep passionate with this instrument, which I do think I'm going to, when I start lessons and I don't have other stuff to focus on, because how do I phrase this right? It's when you're in school, especially if you don't have a lot of options because maybe your school doesn't provide everything for you. You've
Hmm.
got your select amount of stuff you can do, and you're like, shit, I really don't enjoy doing this one subject, and I want to carry on doing this. I want to maybe practice this like excessively, but I have so much due for this subject, and the teacher's really gonna lose their cool with me if I don't do it.
Hmm.
Right? You get what I mean when I say that.
No, yeah, I understand.
But now that I'm doing music, you still have those teachers. It's like I have those subjects in music, but it's like I have something to do for music which I already enjoy, and it's not that I get tired with it.
Yeah,
So, and it's going to
I think
help me in the long run when I'm doing my piping, because maybe it's a bit of theory and it's like, I can relate this to what I'm doing for this tune or whatever. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
I think it's very important that like if you want to do something, especially if you want to do something in your future, like something even as if it's a hobby, you really need to have that sort of I really love doing this and I want to do
Mm.
things that are involved with it, you know. For
Yeah.
example, like yeah, it might be a hobby, but let's just say you like I don't know, I've been playing a lot of League of Legends lately. It's like one of my favorite games now. Um but like, you know, sometimes you're there and your friends would like you to play something else and you really don't want to. And I think it's personally absolutely fine if you don't want to play, let's say, CSGO and you'd rather play League of Legends,
Kevin, are
that you
you
just
venting
say,
right now?
look, man, I really like League of Legends. I have a problem. No, but like, I really think it's important to do what you really want to do instead of
No,
forcing
100%.
yourself to do something that you doesn't want to do. You know, like,
Yeah.
yes, engineering is hard, right? And yes, I stay up till 3 every day just working.
But you see,
But
like
I
the longevity in it. You're like, I'm
yeah,
gonna
I
enjoy this one
genuinely
day.
enjoy the subject, right?
And if you
I
really don't, you can always just like change what you want to do eventually. It's
exactly
not
no,
like
like
something's completely set in stone.
I might be a bit young to say this, albeit I am like what turning 19 soon. I am a bit young in saying this, but I genuinely believe that things that happen now, things that happen when you're in high school, don't actually matter that much in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, I think it's like overhyped, just a
I
little bit.
really, yeah, exactly. I really think it's overhyped
Because
because
if you do badly in matric and you do badly in your senior year, like wherever you are, it's not the end of the world. There's always
it's
options
really
for
not.
everyone to do like anything you want.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
genuinely, you don't need your matric marks to excel at something that you really want to do. I know one
Yeah.
of my friends, he did really well. So it's not the greatest example, but he did really well in all the subjects that he was doing, science, IT, and maths. And he went into computer science, and when he got there, hated it. He just hated it. He was like, "This isn't what I expected. I hate the maths that I have to do. It's really tiring. I haven't really met anyone that I've particularly enjoyed.
Hmm.
You know, um,
And he that
what's the point of me being here?"
yeah.
So he was like, I'm just going to go and do some more courses for myself. I already know how to code in X amount of languages, and I'm going to go find a job for myself or continue with the one that I'm currently doing. And now
Yeah.
he's like working really high up at good companies. I'm not going to expose what company he works at because then he's going to know who I'm talking. He's going to know who he is if he's going to
Yeah.
listen to this. He probably already does, but that's besides the point. The point I'm
Hello.
trying to make is that
You know who we're
he
talking about. Mm.
he's done really, really well for himself, and he
Yeah.
doesn't even have a degree behind him.
Yeah. I really think that if you really want to do something, there's always going to be a way for you to do that. Like, I really want to do engineering, and I genuinely believe that, yes, it's hard, but I will find a way through it, and I will end up building buildings for people because I love fucking building shit, okay? Don't judge me on this. You know, and also it's like I guess one of the bigger examples in the world would be like Michael Reeves, you know, the one famous
I know him.
YouTuber who
Crackhead
builds
Reeves, let's
things,
go.
Crackhead Reeves, yeah, who builds things, who like he just. But here's the thing, like even though he might not um be the best, the biggest YouTuber, I genuinely like him because you can see he's passionate about what he does.
Yeah,
He loves building.
he's also
He
done.
loves programming.
Yeah,
He loves editing his videos and he definitely loves making people laugh, which is
yeah.
just awesome. Michael Reeves, if you're listening to this, you're probably not, but if you are, please don't DMCA us. Like
You can't get
we
DMCA'd
already
for talking about people.
we already getting like copyright strikes. We don't need any more, okay?
um,
Um,
but yeah,
but
like you can even use Michael Reeves as an example. He said that he never did really well at school. He said
yeah,
that
exactly.
he felt like he was like failing his subjects, but he found something that he really enjoyed within coding, and he just decided to follow that. He was like, fuck my school subjects. And they're like, no, not fuck your school subjects. You need to pass. And he's like, I'll do enough to pass, but this is what I'm focusing on. And then
Yeah,
he got a job just off of doing that. He was doing a bunch of like tutorship things, teaching kids how to code and
and
stuff.
I think he
And
also
now
worked
he's
for like government,
yeah,
like
that
the
that was
U.S. government,
that was the
didn't he?
job that he landed up getting.
Yeah,
He was working for government.
yeah.
And yeah, and look at the career he's made for himself. And he's incredibly intelligent too. Like he knows how to do stuff, and or he knows what he wants to do and how to do it, is my point.
Yeah.
So it's the exact same thing. You don't need all these degrees behind you to be the most successful person on the planet.
No, yeah, yeah, that's that. But also, I do think at the same time, you do have to be passionate and you do actually have to enjoy
100%.
what you're doing. Because,
Yeah.
like, yes, Michael Reeves doesn't have degrees and stuff, but in a recent OT, well, it wasn't recent, it was like 8 months ago, but in this one OTV podcast I listened to, he did say for this one project, he stayed up maybe like what 3 all-nighters and probably a 48-hour day just doing this project for this YouTube video. And yes, it's not easy. It's don't expect to be like, yes, you might enjoy music, for
Yeah.
example,
Not
but don't
not
expect it to
everything's
be
gonna.
easy.
Yeah. Not everything's
It's
gonna just come
not
to you on a silver platter.
exactly. And you've got to be passionate enough to push through to say, I want to do this. This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And you will push through. But I see a lot of people who go, it's too hard. Even though I love this thing, it's too hard. I don't want to do it. And that's, I don't think, is the right attitude. But that's my personal opinion.
I
Maybe
think
Michael has a different idea, but you know.
I think it's you need to know your limits at the same time.
Oh yeah,
So you can't
100%.
go into something that you think that you're really passionate about and just expect to be the best at it. Some things need
Look,
to be like worked
I
upon.
can say, if you did maths lit in school, don't expect to do engineering because you will fucking struggle, mate.
I mean, like if even if I take you as an example, Kevin, if I'm like you're really passionate about engineering and you want to do stuff one day, but I'm like, okay, Kevin, go and design me and build me a bridge right now, or
Yeah, I
or
can't.
you lose your position. It's like I can't. It's too hard for me
Yeah,
because
no,
it is.
it's
It's about knowing that you have to get there within steps. You can't just be like, okay, well, I'm just gonna take a fucking yeet leap and get all the way to where I want to be, which would normally
and
take you
build a
about
fucking
like
bridge.
5 years to understand how to build a bridge with all the like mechanics behind it and the physics, whatever. You know what I mean, though.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's everything is like a due process. You know, you have to work up to it.
It definitely takes time. It's not like life for me
I think
personally
the
is
let
not
me
something that just comes. You've got to actually work for
yeah
life, you know?
let me just add that I think what's better to phrase as opposed to saying like the attitude of saying, oh, it's too hard,
Mm-hmm.
then that shouldn't be like your mentality. I think the mentality should be you shouldn't give up. Because
Yeah.
if I go to Kevin, okay, build me the bridge, fucker, you know, then he's like, oh, I can't. Like, maybe give me 5 years and I'll get there eventually. But it's like, okay, cool. As long as you don't give up, Kev. As long as you don't give up on your dreams, it's cool. I think if
Yeah.
you really enjoy something, you're really passionate about it, giving up on that idea is such a bummer and such a letdown for you in the long
Yeah,
run.
yeah,
It's
I
it's
agree with that
you know
100%.
that the Stan Lee quote.
No,
It's
man,
like
no.
if you if you have an idea that you genuinely think is good, don't let some idiot tell you that it's not worth your time. Or uh, it's a little bit paraphrased, but you get the idea.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's just
Um,
like
no,
his
no,
point
like,
was that you mustn't give up just because someone says otherwise, or you mustn't give up because oh I can't do this.
yeah, no, I agree with Michael. It's like, yeah, it's going to be hard. Like, life is not easy. I genuinely don't think life is easy. Life is hard. There's going to be problems. There's going to be struggles. You're going to have to work and fight for things. But if you really like care about, for example, like I'm not even going to use an example that involves me and Michael. Let's just say you really care about fashion, for example, right? And I know for a fact the fashion industry is rough. It's hardcore out there, right? you've got to fight for it. If you really love doing fashion, then I really think that if you're passionate about it, you've got to fight for it.
Yeah,
You
100%.
can't just you can't be a pushover in something like that. Like, I am an honest believer that sometimes it's great to be selfish. Obviously, don't be a selfish dick who fucking eats an entire tub of ice cream for himself.
Kevin, it sounds like you're venting again.
Shh. We don't talk about that incident, okay? We don't talk about it. But don't eat an ice cream tub by yourself because that's a dickish move.
God damn it,
Nah.
Daniel! No, I'm kidding. I don't know if it was actually
No,
Daniel or
it
not.
wasn't. No,
but,
that's a separate conversation. But no, I do think it's good. It's right to be selfish, to do something that you're passionate about, like fight tooth and nail to be in that fashion industry if you love doing fashion. I think that's really important. You can't just be a pushover when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah.
But look, at the end of the day, like, Michael and I are both turning 19. We don't exactly have a fucking vast library of life experience, okay?
Yeah. Look, that's one thing that I've not figured out, but I've seen from my parents. I'm always like, you always complain about your parents. I'm saying, like, not you. I'm just saying people in general.
Yeah,
Complain
yeah,
about
yeah.
their parents. Like, how could you, like, be so mean to the cashier? It's like, they gave me the wrong thing. I have to complain about it. It's like, no, you don't. You could have just, like, gone on your way. It wasn't that much of an inconvenience. And
Oh my word.
you can get to your story in a second. Let me finish.
Okay.
But it's the same thing. My parents have said to me that it comes with experience. Like, learning how to stand up for yourself comes with experience. When
Yeah.
I was younger and I used to get bullied for XYZ, I'd be like, oh, okay, that can be kind of sad. But now I'm like, someone bullies me and I'm like, okay, pussy. Not actually.
Whoa.
Okay.
Let's not get demonetized here, Michael.
True. Censorship in post.
True? Question mark?
I'll be like, okay, but why should I really care about what you have to say about me?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a better example. And it's the same thing. It's like the other day I ordered a pizza, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have like a lot of change. So if I was gonna buy a pizza, unless they brought change with them, I was gonna have to give them like a massive tip,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I went and ordered, and the dude came around the corner with my pizza, and I was like, do you have change for this? He was like, oh, I only have this 20 rand. The pizza costs about 119, 118 rand, right?
Yeah.
And I had 200 rand, which means it's about an 81 rand tip.
Jesus.
If I give that full amount. He's like, oh no, but I only have the 20 rand. And which still means that it's a 60 rand tip, and a 60 rand tip is extremely generous, I'd say.
No, you're not even. That's just like kind of fucked. I'm not gonna lie.
So I was like, he doesn't have like change with him. He looks like he's a new driver. I was just like, yeah, okay, fine, just take it. And then I got like a 20 rand. So I gave him like a 60 rand, 61 rand tip. And realistically, even though I don't really mind it that much in hindsight, like, it's just one pizza. But I should have said, like, I told you, because I said on the phone, can you guys bring some change for 200 rand? But they didn't.
Yeah.
So I should have been like, okay, no, this is kind of bullshit. I said, bring change, please.
Yeah.
So, it's stuff like that you need to know. Okay, no, I should fight for this. It's the difference between knowing when to fight for something, like when you know you're genuinely right, or you told them to do something, you asked them to do something they didn't, and being petty.
Yeah. I do. Yeah, I do think
it's the same thing with if like your lecturers being unfair to you. In school, I think it's a bit tougher because then, like, oh, you're being disrespectful, I'm going to take you to the principal. And then you're like, oh, I'm sorry, okay, just give me the 60% even though I deserved 80.
Yeah.
I know you have some experience with that based on some of your teachers that you had in high school. But it is just life experience, learning when to fight and when to let go of stuff.
Yeah. Like, I know, like, I've been listening to a lot of podcasts, especially when I work, because I tried listening to music, doesn't work for me. So, I listen to podcasts now. And
He's practicing for the
especially
future, guys.
exactly, gotta like work on, bro. One day we're gonna be just as big, or maybe even bigger than OTV. That's. I mean, that's all I'm saying. You know, like we're building it up. You know, what can we say? No, but like seriously, I think it's really nice to listen to older people. By older people, yes, I think. Well, how old is like Michael Reeves now? I think he's like what, 24.
Yeah.
So so what? He's older than us by like what, 5 years? Which really isn't that much when you think about it. So I just realized all of a sudden, like, wow, listening to someone who even is only 5 years older than you, but he has gone through, he's in the middle of his career. He's got a job, even though it's YouTube videos, it's still a job, right? He's got to deal with taxes, he's got to get his drivers, whatever, whatever. And I just realized actually how young we actually are, Michael. Like, I don't think you realize how young we are. You know,
That's
Pokimane?
insane. Yeah.
Pokimane is only like, I think she's
Yeah,
25.
she's like, yeah, she's also like really young. Yeah.
She's like 25 when I was maybe like 16 and I thought 25. I'm like, wow, that's really far away, right?
Mm. You're
And
like
now that I'm
19, you're like, that's like
19,
5 years away from me. GG.
that's fucking almost five. That's what's 5, 6 years away from me, dude. It's so
Mm.
close, you know. But what? She's already got a successful career. She's got like, she's living in her house. She's fucking earning a lot of money, albeit she might not say so. But the point is, she does earn money and whatnot. And at the end of the day, you sit there and you realize, I'm actually a fucking child compared to the amount of shit she went through. Yes, she's only what, 5, 6 years older than me, but I'm a fucking child,
Yeah, I
you
can
know?
already see it. Like, I found a few people that I play games with sometimes because I just managed to find them in a game, and you guys haven't been online as often.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, well,
everyone hasn't been online as often because of uni
we're
stuff.
struggling a bit here, man. Okay.
But they're quite a bit older than me. Most of them are about. There's one dude that's 1 year older than me, and the rest of them are literally 10 years older than me. They're 28, 20, 29.
Yeah.
And already then, like the stuff they say, the stuff they talk about, it's like these guys have a lot more experience than me. It's like I can still make jokes with them and still get on with them because a lot of it has to do with maturity, and you can have maturity at a very young age.
Yeah.
But in terms of like what they've gone through, they've had to like do their courses already. They probably got jobs. You know, they've dealt with like a lot of shit doing this. They've been driving for like already 10 years. Yeah, I just
Yeah.
started driving. You can just see a lot of experience that you lack within other people.
Yeah, like, and I think one thing we need to realize, especially as teenagers, right? And I don't know if there are a lot of teenagers that listen to our podcasts, but let's just say what, you're like 18, 19, 20, even 20, 21 even, right? I think it's important for people to realize that you're still a fucking baby compared to the amount of shit that like 25 and above actually go through, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think, like, personally for me, I'm not fucking ready to be a 25-year-old. There's so much shit that I still haven't learned that I want to fucking figure
Yeah,
out
and
before I reach 25.
there's still so much stuff that you want to do as well.
Yeah,
There's
like,
one of
for me
my yeah.
personally, ever since I was 16 till now, and I'm almost 19, right? I've just felt the fucking same. Like, I felt like I haven't aged at all,
Yeah, it's
you know?
actually insane.
Like, I still feel like I'm a 16-year. Yes, I've got my driver's license. Yes, I've got my, like, what, gun license. I can shoot people, not
I don't
legally, but
okay.
I can
I don't
shoot
think you
people, right?
just
So
because
you
you
know
have a
what I
gun
wanted to
license
say.
doesn't mean you
But
can
the
shoot
point
people.
is,
Kevin,
I
you were
can
talking
drive.
about demonetization earlier. Oh no.
But like, the point is, I can drive, I can drink, I have a gun license, right? I could technically go buy a house by myself if I had money, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, while all of that, I still feel like I'm 16. I still feel like a child. I still need like my parents to give me life advice and things like that, right? And when you really like think about it and you think about how much experience you have in a certain field or something, I feel fucking like I feel like a fucking 2-year-old baby, mate. It's fucking
Yeah.
scary, dude.
But at the same time, even though you feel really young, I've also said so many times that there's still so much I want to do.
Exactly.
Like, and one of my tutors, who's still tutoring me now, thanks to uni, hopefully. Um, but he said to me that you're so young, like you're 18. When you're that young, you don't actually clock how young you are
No, yeah,
until you get to an
exactly,
older
dude.
age. And when you're that young, you don't have to figure everything out. Like you've got so much time to experience your youth but people just want to rush into, I want to get my degree now, I want to see if I can get into a job now. And then like, why? You're so young, just like get a job by the time you're like 30, I don't know. Like
Yeah, exactly.
experience stuff.
Like,
Like for me personally, I want to do some like aviation school because there's actually an opportunity that I have that I can go and do that my
hmm
dad's got for me. I just want to go flying planes. It's so cool. Like
I just want to fly, man.
I want to carry on driving bikes with my dad and like have some fun with him there. Um, I want to do mixed martial arts, like learn how to do that stuff. I want to carry on with like self defense courses, etc. etc.
hmm
It's yeah. There's amongst other things that I want to do.
Yeah,
It's just
but
yeah,
like, I don't know. Sometimes I think, especially as a teenager, like technically we're not even a youth person yet. We're still teenagers, right?
yeah,
I don't think it's actually clocked how long we've been living for, you know?
yeah,
I think like it's just like sometimes we don't realize that we are actually children. We graduated high school, but what high school when you think about it, what 5 years of high school is nothing. It's nothing, you know. You in the first 2 weeks of uni, you basically learn what you did your 5 years of high school,
yeah,
and I think it's like, yeah, I don't know. I just think it's really terrifying when you think about it. About wow, we are still fucking children, and I've been on this earth for 19 years.
yeah.
You know, and when you like sometimes I look there and I go, wow, I've been on this earth for 19 years, and then I realize, shit, I've only been on this earth for 19
Mm.
years, bro.
It's
I'm a child.
it's like that tweet from Elon Musk where he's saying the tutorial for being a human is too long. It's like 18 years.
Yeah, it's fucking funny, dude.
Yeah.
But I
Speaking
mean,
of clocking, Kevin, I don't think we've clocked how long our recording has gone on here.
yeah,
But
that's true.
get your finishing remarks, and we can end off the podcast and do our outro.
uh yeah, I just want to say it's wonderful to be back on the podcast, you know.
Hmm.
Yes, we're still small. I think maximum, actually I checked the analytics the other day, we clocked a maximum of like 36 views, which is like, yeah, it sounds small, but trust me, 36 views, fucking amazing,
Yeah,
right?
it
It's just
feels
it makes us
yeah,
so happy,
it's good
right?
to be back because I was sitting there after like when when we were like, oh no, school's getting a bit too hectic, and I was like, I know, but I missed the podcast.
Oh, actually, Michael,
I've been
hang on,
wanting
hang
to
on.
do the podcast for months now.
I'd just like to butt back in. The
Yeah,
maximum amount of views we got was 74.
wasn't that on our first one?
That's on our first one. That's fucking insane, dude.
Yeah, it's
Like,
nice, and
that's actually insane.
I
It
hope
makes
we'll
us
get a lot of views
so
after this.
happy.
And it was already over a year ago. That's
Yeah.
insane, dude.
And also, like, look, I just want to point out that, like, sure, we might not be, what, OTV and whatnot, and, like, getting, I don't know, 5,000, like, how many, like, 500,000 views or something. But, I just like to say that, yes, we've been doing this for, what, 9 episodes already. I just like to like just quickly say I'm grateful for every single view we get. Like every single view we get, every single comment, every single like, even every single dislike, I'm grateful for, because it just tells me that we're getting there. You know, it's a little bit of a goal, a long-term goal we want to work towards. And I'm getting a bit emotional, but like I think like just thinking about it, it's insane. We started this a year ago, not even taking it seriously, honestly. I mean, if you've watched our podcast, it's just been
it's how every YouTube channel goes. You're like, yeah, I'll start
yeah.
it. It's probably not going to be like too hectic or
I
take it
mean,
too seriously. And if it starts taking off, then you're like, damn, I should actually start
even
taking
the
it seriously.
fucking background gameplay is just fucking terrible, dude. It's not even recorded properly. It's just dog shit gameplay, and it just makes me so happy that there are so many people, albeit 74 people, but the point is there are 74 people who actually care enough to watch listen to the podcast or watch the podcast, depending what platform you're using, and it really just warms my heart. Like I'd just like to say, we're back. We're gonna try to maintain a weekly podcast upload schedule. Obviously, it's rough. We're both in uni. It's not easy, but we will try our best to maintain this weekly upload schedule. And you know what? We're meeting new people. Perhaps we will give even more guests. Everyone likes guests, I'm sure. So we'll
Definitely.
see.
You guys have to
it
carry
was
warming
lovely to be
Kevin's
back.
cold engineering heart.
Depressed. Leave me alone.
But yeah, maybe we'll probably be back next weekend already. It just
Next
depends on
weekend.
how stuff goes with uni. I
Yeah.
think we're approaching test
So hang
weeks
on.
pretty
I
soon.
just want to I just want to quickly point out, like, the way it works so far for the podcast is, so normally what happened before was I was the one recording the podcast, editing and uploading. So I'd record on Saturday evening, and then we upload on a Sunday morning. That was the plan. But because we've got Michael now who's recording and uploading, because I don't have the necessary hardware and internet connection, it might work a bit different. The upload schedule might be not consistent as Michael's trying to learn how to do these things. Maybe he might.
Oh, no,
hopefully, he does it better than me.
It
Honestly,
might,
I hope
come
he does
out a
it better
bit
than
later because I don't know. Sometimes I sleep too much, but
Yeah.
I do know
We'll
how to record
try
and
our
edit and
best.
stuff. But yes,
We'll
yeah,
try our best to upload it onto
look,
Sundays.
everything will be in order at some point.
Yes,
and
we'll work it out.
We'll we'll hop in the studio together. Record some sick bars of just speaking to each other, not songs because we can't rap or sing. And we'll work from there, and hopefully we can get Daniel back soon too.
Yes, hopefully we can get Daniel back soon. I still need to talk to him about the thing. He was just unavailable today. He was just doing something. I'm not exactly sure.
Hashtag
but,
partying. No, I'm kidding. I don't actually know.
No, I'm not sure either. We actually need to check. But and also we can get more guests because there are definitely more people we know now. And it's I'd just like to say thank you for sticking with us. And if you're listening now after how long has it been, Mark? 5-month hiatus or something? 6 months of just
10-month
nothing.
hiatus.
10 months. Holy shit. Okay. 10 months later, we're back. We're going to try our best to maintain a weekly schedule. And I forgot how these outros go, Michael, but I'm just going to wing it now. If you have any topics you'd like us to talk about, any thing you want us to talk about, comment it in the section. We read every single comment.
Comment it in the section.
What
section, Kevin? What section is that?
Put it in the comments. We read every comment because we obviously don't have a lot of comments, but we will read every comment.
And we appreciate your feedback. Don't try and scam us. We probably won't appreciate that. Leave your suggestions in the comments. We'll read every single one of this because we don't get a lot of comments, and we'll take
we actually genuinely care.
Yeah, we'll take your criticism as long as you're not rude and disrespectful about it. We're always open to new ideas. We want to improve, so if you guys have any gripes with the way we deliver stuff or talk about things, then go for it in the comments.
Yeah. So put everything in the comments, topics, whatever. If you have any guests that you'd like in the comments, look, man. If you guys want Pokimane, I can try email her. I'm not sure if she's gonna come join.
I don't think that'll work. But hey, everything's worth a try, Kevin.
We'll worth a try. You know, any guests, any special people you want, you can put it in the comments. We'll try our best.
Watch Alex comment on
you
this
know-
video and be like, yeah, get the most famous person you can. Who's that, Alex?
Look,
I
man,
don't know.
we'll try. No, we'll try. We'll try.
Just grab someone that's
Um,
verified on Twitter with like 10,000 followers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, dislike the video, up to you. I really don't care. I mean, as long as
Hit
you're getting
that
involved with
red
the video,
box
it makes me happy.
Below, put on notifications so
Subscribe.
that you'll know when our videos come out next. Smash that like button in the face. And thanks everyone for pitching up to the Valley of the Varbs.
And also, this podcast was brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends. it
No.
wasn't. Please, Raid Shadow Legends, sponsor us. We're
want
really
money.
poor. Please,
No, I'm
we want money, please. No, but like seriously, we really appreciate all of you. Any feedback is just wonderful for us. Albeit even as a like, dislike, subscription, whatever. We really appreciate it. And yeah, thank
Cheers,
you for
everyone.
listening to
Thanks
Valley
for
of the
listening
Varbs.
to the podcast.
We'll
See you next time.
catch you in the next episode. Bye.